Everyone, it's Laurie from Cook Scrap Craft. Welcome to Off the Board, the first challenge for 2023. The last Wednesday of every month, a group of scrapbookers gets together and pick something from each of our Pinterest boards. We each do something different usually, and now we're just going to show you how we're inspired by it. So this month, usually I do like scrap lifts or sketches and stuff like that. But for this month, I was going through my Christmas Pinterest board because, of course, I had the best laid plans for this past December and nothing really happened. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go through my Christmas Pinterest board. I'm going to plan ahead for December 2023. And one of the things that was in that Pinterest board was a couple pictures of different Christmas cards to DIY. And I saw this one. This was the very first pin that I ever pinned into the Christmas board. So who knows how long it's been sitting around this board, and I've never done anything with it. I've never created these Christmas cards based on these pictures. And I finally said, you know what, I'm going to start here. So in the month of January, my goal was to make 3 cards based on these images here. And I'll leave this up in the top corner just for a short, more period of time for you, just so you can see. But one of them is like a wreath, one of them's a Christmas tree, and one of them's an ornament. And the wreath and the Christmas tree basically just use, I guess you could do washi tape as well, but I'm using pattern paper strips. And it's a great way, I think, to use up leftover pieces from your stash. I don't know about you, but I do have a lot of Christmas paper, and a lot of it's already been cut into. So I really wanted to use it to make photos, or not to make photos, to make Christmas cards. That's my goal for the year, is to make handmade Christmas cards by December 2023. All right, so for this first card, I'm going to try to do the wreath. And instead of making it a square card, I actually know how to cut the paper now, but I cut it into a 4x6 card. And so I've got sort of a red pattern paper as the background, and then I used some white cardstock in the center. And then I'm just finding some green paper that I can cut down into paper strips. I did use a scoring board to fold the red pattern paper so that I could get I knew where to fold it, and I could get a nice crease. You don't have to have a scoring board if you don't have one. If you make cards often, you probably want to have one. Mine is a Martha Stewart brand, and it was a scoring board / paper cutter. But I have to say the paper cutter doesn't work anymore. Like the blade it's not that the blade isn't sharp, it's that like the wire is warped, and so it doesn't cut anything straight. So it's totally useless as a paper cutter. But the scoring portion of it works pretty well, and it does have a special tool that, of course, when I was folding this card, I couldn't find the tool. It was on the floor, where it should be, right? But I do end up finding it and using it for the layer cards. I really like using it. It's something that I saw and thought, I don't know if I need it. And then I, of course, went out to Michael's and I bought it. I don't even know if they still make the Martha Stewart brand anymore, but I'm sure you can find a different brand. Or if you guys are card makers and you know of a really good brand, you want to leave that in the comments below, let me know. So I've got this pattern paper. It's all the same, and I believe it was Vicki Boutin. It's just like a nice green color. And of course I cut the paper strips, wasn't really measuring because that's not my style. I just kind of was like, let's just make them this size. Sure. And they're a little too big. Because the card is, a specific size. So they're definitely longer than the card. And I didn't want it to look like the wreath was going off the edges. So I do have to go back and cut all of these down a little bit more. This is a little bit tedious because all of the pieces are very small. But it's not something that's impossible to do. It just is a little tedious, especially the first time around when I was kind of like, I don't know specifically the sizes of anything, and I'm just kind of trying to figure it out as I go. And really that's what my process was for all of these cards, was just figuring it out as I go along, since there was no specific tutorial for them. I will link the original pin down below. However, just note that apparently somehow it seems like it links back to a recipe for like honey chicken on allrecipes.com. I don't know how that happens. So I have absolutely no idea where this pin originally came from, because I know the All Recipes website is not the correct one. But I guess that's what happens when you have pins on your Pinterest board for 10 years. I guess some of the links get a little warped. I don't know. I have gone through and my Pinterest board, some of them, and I've gotten rid of links that definitely do not link back to where they should be. Or if anytime I try to click on a link and Pinterest is like, this might be spam, I'm just like, delete. So that's a good way to clear out some of your pins and really focus on the ones that that you want to do and that are easy to do without having to click through to another website. While I am getting the rest of this wreath glued down with my tape runner, my glue tape runner, I just want you guys to know that down below you can find the links to all the other participants for Off the Board this month. So definitely be sure to hop along and check out what they're doing. This is a fun monthly challenge that Crystal at Pineapple Papers puts together. And also, if you want to be inspired by something from your own Pinterest board, or maybe you want to take one of the pins that we're inspired by and do your own thing, be sure to let us know and share those layouts and cards or whatever you create on social media using the hashtag OTBWPP, which of course stands for Off the Board with Pineapple Papers. So I actually had, I can't remember where I got it, but I had this Christmas sequins mix in my stash, and I decided that in between each of the green paper strips, I was going to put a red sequins. And I might have to rethink the sequins because for some reason, not all of these really wanted to stick very well to my glue dots. So I don't know if it was the glue dots or the sequins, but sometimes I do have issues sticking down sequins. And I have tried like a liquid glue before, and they very easily pop off with the liquid glue. I've learned that from past experience trying to use them in my December daily albums. So if you guys have a good sequins adhesive, please let me know what it is down in the comments below, because of course I'm always on the lookout. Like, I do these process videos, but that doesn't mean that I know everything and that I have all the answers. Like this YouTube community of crafters is so we can all just share what we're working on, share inspiration, and share tips and tricks and advice. So I would love for you guys to give me some advice on best sequins adhesive that you have found and that you use all the time. Now, of course, you do just like a shaker pocket with sequins, and then you wouldn't have to adhere them down individually at all. And I actually did order something from Close to My Heart to help me make better shaker pockets, but it hasn't come yet at the time of this recording, and I have no idea when it's coming because it hasn't even shipped yet. So I'm very impatient. I really want to get started, and I also want to show you guys all the stuff that I ordered from Close to My Heart. But until then, you'll just have to wait. Maybe it'll be part of my February haul. So now I need to come up with a way to add some sort of like ribbon element, because the original card had maybe it was like a piece of twine ribbon attached to the card. And obviously I didn't have any of that in my stash. So I used a Pinkfresh sticker that I popped up on some foam tape. And so that's what's going to be at the top of the card. And I need to look at the card right now so I can tell you what the sentiment was. I find it. I actually have these in envelopes, so they're all ready to go. It doesn't have a sentiment on it. It's just a bow with like bows and holly. So anyway, that's what I used, and that was just a sticker. So you don't have to have ribbon. You can use sticker elements as well. Some of these cards, I think I was starting to say this before, this whole process just me figuring out how to do the cards. So obviously I think I'm going to do each of these styles together another way, and I'm going to I like these styles, all three of them, so I'm going to continue trying to work with all three of these styles to make my Christmas cards. So if I have some that actually look better than this first batch of three, then I will probably send those out as opposed to these. But I think these turn out pretty well. They're definitely ones that I would send to like family members. Because, families always like, they don't really care what anything looks like. They're just like, oh my gosh, you made this? That's amazing. Okay, so now I'm doing the Christmas tree card, and I have done something similar to this on Scrapbook Layouts where you take different sizes of pattern paper. I'm actually also going to put a sticker in there, a sticker sentiment, and you just layer them on top of each other to make like a triangular shape, like a Christmas tree. And then you can put something on top, like a sticker or a flare button or something to be like the star on top of the tree. So this is really easy. I used white cardstock as the base. I also cut it in a 4x6 size. But I'm doing it instead of horizontal, I'm making it a vertical opening card. And then I had some gray, kind of gray with white polka dot paper. So I suppose it's supposed to look like snow. That's what I chose for my base. And then all of the paper strips are just random stuff from my Christmas stash. Some of them came from branding strips. Some of them are I just cut from little bits of paper that was left over. And I'm just layering them all on the top along with that sentiment sticker from Pinkfresh, which is a part of my January haul. So I'm really glad I have that. And then I'm creating a brown base for the tree trunk. You could do it a little bit differently. The original card was done differently than this as well, but this is just kind of like my version of it and how I envisioned it and what I needed it to do. And then I put a bigger sequin up at the top that's going to be in place of my star. And since it is bigger, I'm going to use the glue tape runner there to try to stick it down a little bit better. I actually found that tape runner works really well on ribbon. I used that on another layout. And so that's kind of, I'm hoping that it works as well, just as well for sequins. Like when you're doing scrapbook layout, stuff is going to be put in page protectors. So if something falls off, it's just going to be in the page protector. It's not that really big of a deal. But when you're making a card, you really want to make sure that things are adhered properly, because you don't want someone to open the card and then be like, it looks like something's missing here. So I've been trying to use this glue tape runner as opposed to my adhesive squares, just because I feel like it's a little bit stronger, because it is like more of a glue than just a normal adhesive, more normal like a tape or something. So I've got the sentiment on here, and I feel like I just want to add a few sequins because I want some dimension. I don't have any dimension really on the card yet, and I figured those will look nice as like ornaments. And that is not something that was on the original layout. I just decided to add that myself. You could add even more sequins if you wanted to. If you had like white sequins, if you had the same pattern paper background that I'm using, if you had white sequins, you could like do those, put a few of those sequins down instead, just because then it would look like falling snow as opposed to doing ornaments. So lots of different ways that you could do stuff. So now I actually figured out how to make a more square card. So this is a 4x4 size card. Again, the base is white cardstock, and I'm going to be doing the ornament card from this pin. And I was like, you know what? There's an ornament sticker in this Pinkfresh collection. And I can't remember the name of the collection, but it's their newest Christmas collection, so it's still available. Like I said, it was part of my January haul. I got it for Christmas. So I'm going to take some red paper and my Creative Memories circle cutter, and I'm going to cut a circle out of that red paper. It's got some gold foiling on it. And I'm going to stick the sticker actually on top of the red circle. I chose the red paper because there was a little bit of red in the ornament sticker. It's kind of like a pinky with some red in it. And it has its own, like, I think the original card had like a piece, it must have been die cut. And I don't have an ornament die cut, but it looked like, the top of an ornament where you put the ribbon. So the sticker already had that. So I didn't even bother trying to make that out of pattern paper. I hope this is making sense. But I definitely needed like a background for this, because otherwise it's just like plain white with a circle in the middle. So I chose this just solid green paper from my stash. I'm just cutting it down to size. Since the card is 4x4, I'm just doing it slightly smaller, but maybe like 1/8 of an inch smaller, so you can still see the white border. And I'm going to stick that down, and then that's going to be my base. You could do a pattern if you want. I just chose to do the solid because I didn't really have any solid, or I didn't have any green patterns in my Christmas collection. So I just decided to go with the solid, and there we go. So this is going to be like a horizontal open fold. And again, I used my scoring board to do the crease. So we've got the circle. I don't remember the size of the circle, but obviously you could do it in different sizes. You can make it even bigger than this. And if you're not using a sticker, you could use a cut file or a die cut that you have to put this ornament on here. It's really, really simple. This is probably like the simplest scrapbooking that I've ever done, because usually I'm doing layouts and I'm putting like lots of embellishments everywhere, and that's just not what I'm doing on the card. So this is definitely outside of my box. Not only am I going off the board this month, I'm going like off the rails with what I normally do. So I popped up that sticker on some foam tape to give the card some dimension, and then I want to add like a sentiment as well. So I'm kind of looking through some of the stuff that was already in my stash, my Christmas stash from before, and I'm not really like, I just want like a paper, a little strip just to go across at the bottom of my ornament. I'm not really finding anything from before, so I turn back to my new stash of Pink Fresh holiday stickers, and I find a sticker that says Fa La La, and I'm like, that's going to be perfect because it's also kind of the same colors. I think it also maybe had a little bit of, well, I can look. I should just look. It maybe also had a little bit of, no, it doesn't have any foiling to it, but actually the ornament sticker has some gold foiling to it, which works really well with the red pattern paper that I chose. So I put the Fa La La on the top. I popped it up with some foam tape because obviously the sticker is popped up, so that the Fa La La has to be popped up. And then I drew with a white pen a line from the top to make it look like the ornament's hanging. So here is everything in the close-ups. I hope that this video was inspiring for you. If you like it, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet to the channel, please do so you don't miss other process videos, and I'll see you next time. Bye!